How do the actions of individuals influence groups and institutions? A documentary highlighting the bravery and courage women had during the Civil War to nurse despite adversity. Prior to the Civil War, it would have never been known to see a woman at war. But through the dedication and tenacity of the women at the time, the dream women had for all those years would finally be fulfilled. These young ladies would become the first women nurses to ever serve and become some of the most influential people in history, showing that anyone can do anything if they put their mind to it. Men headed off for war, women were left wondering what they could do to express their patriotism. Many wanted to show that they could be part of the war even though they were women, and thought of the perfect job, nursing. At the time, nursing was looked upon as a job for only men to fulfill. The only nursing at the time done by women mostly took place in homes. Many doctors preferred men over women nurses and thought women were not strong enough to do the job and would not be able to handle the horrors of war. The nursing done by women was done by nuns. Other than that, it was seen to be inappropriate for women to work in that kind of job. Not letting their stereotypes hold them back, women rushed to start establishing hospitals and taking care of wounded soldiers. Many took care of the wounded in their homes and with their own personal physicians. A nurse named Sally L. Tompkins took the lead and established her own hospital, Robertson Hospital in Richmond, which was highly successful. Another nurse named Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross. As women worked their way up, it started to become more common to see the women nurses with the men. At first, women were only allowed to serve in base hospitals where soldiers would go for long-term care and were only allowed limited duties. But soon, nurses started to appear more and more in makeshift hospitals. Soon, women were serving next to their male counterparts, working on the front line, assisting doctors in surgery, and other things like that. Although women were disgusted by what they saw, the conditions in many Army hospitals were particularly inadequate. Nurses found mismanagement, lack of supplies, materials of inferior quality, unsanitary conditions, and unqualified surgeons. And that was the U.S. Sanitary Commission. The Sanitary Commission will be founded in 1861, which standardized and upgraded the care the soldiers received in wartime. Women came together in over 7,000 northern societies to form the U.S. Sanitary Commission. They traveled long distances to visit husbands, sons, and brothers in remote Army encampments. The greatest contribution of the Commission was to reduce fatalities resulting from the war. Before it was created, 4 soldiers for everyone who fell in the battle died from disease. The Sanitary Commission reduced that number by half. Over the objections of the surgeons, nurses started to introduce home remedies, airing of wards, and simple cleanliness. Through their persistence and dedication that many soldiers started to survive their wounds and live to see their families again. April 20th, 1861, President Abraham Lincoln appointed a well-known reformer, Dorothea Dix, as superintendent of Army nurses. Dix had spent years of working for better care for the mentally ill and supervised the first official women's nursing group in the U.S. Army Medical Department. She was determined to provide a useful group of female nurses to work in the military hospitals. She hoped that careful selection of the women she hired might lessen the criticism her nurses endured from prejudiced doctors. Through their hard work and dedication, despite the criticism they endured, these group of individuals were able to influence the institution of nursing. Brave women changed how we will look back at nursing, and their heroic actions will always be remembered when we look on women in history.